everyone, my name is Chrissy and welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing the end of the year book tag, which I believe was started by a gal named Ariel. I'll link her original video down in the description, and then I'll also link Angie from Literary Labors and I believe the peeps from Book Zealot, because those are the ones that I saw this year first. So I'm linking their videos too. Please go check them out. They are fabulous people. So the first question is, are there any books you started this year you need to finish? And yes. The first book is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. I am buddy reading this with someone from Twitter by the name of Charlotte, and I'll link their Twitter account if you want to go check them out. But I'm buddy reading that with them, and I'm hoping to actually get this book done sometime this week. I still have half of it left, but it shouldn't be too much longer, crossing fingers, because my classes are done. So hopefully I'll be able to read it fairly quickly. The next book is Everything She Ever Wanted by Anne Rule. I had gotten this from the library like a couple months ago, and I just kept rechecking it out because no one put it on hold. And I am not very far into it. I'm only like, I'm less than 100 pages. I'm at chapter 11 right now. And it's a fairly chunky monkey book. It's like 550 pages. The next book is Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole. This is through my Kindle, and I am about halfway through. It's really good so far. I like it a lot. I like the whole, like, prince in disguise. You know, like Belle from Beauty and the Beast. But I'm really liking it so far, and I have a feeling I'm just going to jump into the next book right after I read it. But I need to not do that because I have other books that I'm reading, like Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. This I actually got from my partner, who really wants me to read Star Wars books. So I started this one, but I'm trying to finish The Dragon Republic and Anne Rule's book first before I finish this one. The next book is Romantic Outlaws by Charlotte Gordon. And I actually read this, first started reading this alongside of Frankenstein for October, but I just couldn't read it fast enough. Like, I only got to chapter 8, and that's not even 100 pages in. Nonfiction just takes a lot longer for me than fiction. And since the library's closed down, they gave us until the 14th of December to read these books and turn them back in, or for the libraries to open again so that we can recheck out books. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping to get both the Anne Rule book and Romantic Outlaws done before the 14th. Crossing fingers on that. And the last book is actually a book I started like months ago, called Deadline by Mira Grant. This is the third book in the Newsflesh trilogy, and it's actually really good. It's just I have it on my Kindle as well, and I just haven't been reading it. I started other books, and then it kind of just got to the wayside. So I need to pick that book up again and finish it before the start of the new year. So those are the books I have started. And then there's other books I have that I'll talk at a different point in time. So the next question is, do you have an autumnal, I'm guessing an autumn-like book, to transition into the end of the year? And not really. I don't really do a lot of like seasonal reads. This is going to be the first year that I'm going to attempt to read a wintry book or a Christmassy book around December. So we're going to see how that goes. If I can even get through the books that I just said I need to read by the end of the year. I don't know who I think I am. Like, I average about 30 to 40 pages a day, which is not shabby by any means necessary, but some of these books are like 600 pages, 500 to 600 pages, and that takes a long time to read if you're only doing 30 to 40 pages a day. The next question is there a new release you're still waiting for? Not really. I don't really pay too much attention to new releases unless it's a series that I'm really into currently. And there is the Wayward Children's books by Seanan McGuire. But the problem is I haven't read even the last two books in that series. So I still have some catching up to do there. And if I was caught up, then I'd be looking forward to that. But I don't think she has a Wayward Children's book even coming out in 2021 or anytime soon. So there we go. I don't have any, is the short answer to that question. Then there's the question, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Pretty much just the library books that I have, and I don't think I'm going to be able to read them before the end of the year, but I'm going to show you guys what they are. So there is The Deep by Rivers Solomon. I originally put this on hold because I thought it would be a lot longer until I actually got the book. And then it came in like really quickly. It's a short read though, so I'm probably going to jump on this a lot sooner than the other books I have in this pile. The next book is Once and Future by Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy. This book I originally got for a readathon, and I can't even remember what readathon it was. I can't remember which readathon it was, but it's a King Arthur retelling in space. So I'm hoping that'll be pretty good. It is young adult, which is not horrible, but the problem is that I'm worried about the world building, which is normally what I worry about when it comes to young adult books, is that the world building tends not to be as fleshed out. And I don't know why I like to read page upon page about, like, the politics of the world or, you know, the magic systems. But I'm hoping that's going to be good. I've heard good things about it, so. The next library book I have is Dying for Attention by James T. Shannon. Really, I just saw the cover and I just got it from the library. I was like, that looks good. And so I think it's a thriller, but we're going to see. The next book is Conan Doyle for the Defense by Margaret Fox. This is about the author, Arthur Conan Doyle, who actually gets into a case in his lifetime. So he was writing Sherlock Holmes, and then he actually gets involved into an investigation, and that's this book. I do want to read this book. Nonfiction just takes a lot longer for me. And so I don't know why I got a ton of nonfiction from the library, but here we are. Okay, the next book is The Nature of Life and Death. Everybody Leaves a Trace by Patricia Wiltshire. This is about a forensic ecologist and just her work experience. And I'm really interested to read this as well. It's a rather short nonfiction, and the print is pretty large, so hopefully it won't take me long to read it. I'm hoping that I can still check some of these books out for another renewal. Okay, the next book is The Royal Art of Poison, Filthy Palaces, Fatal Cosmetics, Deadly Medicine, and Murder Most Foul by Eleanor Herman. I read Quackery, and this kind of seems up that same alleyway. So Quackery by Lydia Kong is about pretty much just different, like, miracle cures that were not really miracle cures. They're actually really harmful to people at the time. And this goes into now poisons. And lastly from the library is the library book by Susan Orlean. This is supposed to be about a crime of, I think, a library burning down. But I was recommended this when I was asking for true crime books. And that's what I got. So that is, let me count the library books alone, including Anne Rule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then also Romantic Outlaws makes 8. I only read 3 books for November. Really, I'm a dreamer. An optimist. Okay, the next question is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Like, I think all of them have the potential to be my favorite of the year, but the problem is that I have plenty of favorites right now that are in line with one another, so there's not really one that goes over into ultimate favorite. So I'll be surprised if one manages to get above some of the awesome books I read, and my pile just fell down. And the last question is, have you started making reading plans for 2021? There are a couple of year-long reading challenges that I've been looking into, like the Pop Sugar reading challenge. I'm actually thinking about getting into that this year. Also, I'm trying to read the books that I have and not spend money. That's been a little bit difficult because in quarantine, you just want to buy all the books. So what I decided to do was that I gave a money value to the books that I read. So for a physical book I read that I own, it's $1. For a ebook that I own on my Kindle that I read, it's 75 cents. For a physical library book, it's 50 cents. And for an ebook from the library, it's 25 cents. So if I read a book, I save that money, and I'm trying to save until at least $50 before I buy a new book. I already kind of broke that, so what I'm doing is getting right back into it, save $50, so that when I do have $50, I can now buy new books. There's actually a bigger amount in my head that I want to save to so that I can have a pretty good haul, but we'll see how that goes. And we'll see if I get there. Because one thing that I also want to add into there is that if I participate in a readathon and I read all of the TBR for that readathon, I double the amount that I save. So for example, if I have 4 books for a readathon and I finish it in the readathon's time, then instead of just $4 or however much I save, depending on the amounts, I double that up. So instead of 4, it'd be 8, so 7, 14, oh wait, yeah, 7, 14, so on and so forth. So that's my plans. I don't really have any other reading plans. Just participate in more readathons, read the books that I have primarily, and hope it goes well. Have you done this tag? If you have, please link it down in the comments, and I will go and check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and as always and forever, may you get lost in the book.